treasure gold.
So, we are the early birds, right? All right. Well, my name is Juan Diego Jimenez, and I am the CEO and founder of CCREATORS. And we're going to talk about smart contracts this morning, okay? So, when smart contracts, start thinking. The era of autonomous RW us, right? So, I've been in the crypto industry for over 10 years. I'm from Costa Rica. I'm a jungle boy, proud jungle boy. And before getting started, I just want to congratulate everyone that has been part of this organization. It's such an honor to be part of this. It's beautiful to see the level of entrepreneurs that we have in Costa Rica. It is actually fantastic seeing the amount of ideas that are being executed. That's the most important thing. Not only Costa Ricans, I know that we have a lot of Panama people in here, a lot of people that also fly from different countries. Thank you very much for coming in. And yeah, the promise is that we will going to keep doing this better and better. All right, so what if I told you that smart contracts weren't actually that smart? Okay, so I know a lot of us, when we heard of a blockchain for the first time, we heard about smart contracts, right? So something that it was looking really nice ended up being something revolutionary, right? So the smart contracts that we knew about 10 years ago, they were not smart at all, okay? The name was smart contracts, but they were not smart at all. So that led us to this new concept that is autonomous contracts. That is the evolution of smart contracts. So, like every other blockchain founder, we share one core mission that is creating, solving trust problems in transactions. That's what we do, right? What we do is solving trust in transactions. So, let's talk about the smart contracts as we knew 10 years ago. What happened with those smart contracts, and why is it so many people didn't understand about blockchain? And it's crazy because when you talk about people about blockchain, they're like, is there really any use cases for that? Because the idea of smart contracts at the beginning was a bit hard to understand in the use cases. Why? Because the first problem they used to have, it was the rigidity. So once a smart contract was deployed, the rules were set on a stone, right? So you can change it. And if something can adapt, if something can change, in a world that everything is changing, the human behavior is changing, regulations are changing, it's obsolete. It's totally obsolete, right? So that was the first problem. Then, well, the next problem is isolation. It's not working, guys. Oh, it's working now. Oh, perfect. Second problem is isolation. So smart contracts obviously are living inside the blockchain, but the world does not live in the blockchain. So the isolation was a big problem because smart contracts didn't have information outside the chain. Okay, so that made it really hard to do it. Okay, so the promise of the automation was there, but the intelligence was missing. So what are the autonomous contracts? Autonomous contracts, think of them as the next evolution of smart contracts, okay? That those don't just execute, but also they don't just execute like fixed rules, but they also observe, they analyze, and the most important thing, take decisions. Okay? So an autonomous contract doesn't wait for a human input. It uses verified data, streams, sensors, verified data in general to make decisions. Based on his own logic and his own context. Okay? Oh my God. Okay. Well, in simple terms, a smart contract executes, but an autonomous contract decides. And this is very important for what I'm about to talk about. Okay? Okay, let's talk about the evolution of smart contracts. About 4 years ago, I was listening to a Lex Fridman podcast, great podcast, and the guest was Sergey Nazarov, founder of Chainlink. You guys know Sergey Nazarov? Raise your hand if you know Sergey. Some of you know Sergey? Great. Perfect. So the conversation they were having opened my mind on what can we do with the smart contracts. And he started talking about the evolution of smart contracts. And when he started talking about the evolution of smart contracts, it hit me because I understood so many things that I'm going to share with you right now. So, and it's also really good because the evolution of smart contracts that I'm about to talk is made by Sergey Nazarov. So it's not made by JD, it's made by Sergey Nazarov. So pretty cool. Okay, so the first generation of smart contracts, it was digital agreements, right? It was a digital agreements. That's about 10, 12 years ago. The first time we heard about smart contracts, it was a digital agreement, okay? If you do this, then do that. Something pretty simple, but revolutionary. The second generation of smart contracts happened when they became on-chain code. So now, it was code inside the blockchain. Okay? That was the second generation about 7 years ago. Okay? And then we have the third generation. The third generation was when things really got interesting. That was the Chainlink moment. That was the ta-da-da Chainlink moment, right? That was when Chainlink introduced to the crypto world, to the blockchain world, a concept that is hybrid smart contracts. The hybrid smart contracts are really interesting because these contracts could connect on-chain logic with off-chain data. So that means that they could finally see what was happening outside the chain. They could finally see what was going on in the real world. So that was very important. So what is the combination of these hybrid smart contracts? It's pretty simple. 2 layers, on-chain layer and off-chain layer. On the on-chain layer, we have basically is where you define the agreement, right? You define the terms, you define the logic, and everything for you to create this transparency that we want to create, right? From there, we have the on-chain, where oracles feed the contract with verified real-world information. Okay, this one, the off-chain, would start making the smart contracts. That was the first step to create something smart in the smart contracts. Okay, so after the podcast, I was thinking, like, if a hybrid smart contract can connect to the real world, what will happen if they could also make decision on their own? That's the real deal with smart contracts. Imagine a smart contract that can decide by its own. Okay? All right. So that leads us to this very important topic that I feel that we all need to really be careful and be very informed about this because it's affecting all of us. It's affecting all of us, and probably it won't be our decision. At least in my startup, it's my decision, but in the rest of the world, won't be. So, autonomy and trust. Giving AI control without losing it. Giving AI control without losing it. So, it's not about data anymore, it's about decision making. And the decision making is when things are really interesting with smart contracts, and we're going to see a lot of use cases. So what happens if we give the AI and the smart systems the power to decide and to act autonomously? Question is, will you trust the AI? Will you trust Sam Altman? Will you? I don't think so, right? So, what's the answer of this problem? Trust. Again, trust. And we're talking about blockchain and AI in here, so we have the solution. Okay? Okay, so the fourth generation of smart contracts are the autonomous contracts, right? So we don't want an autonomous contract to do whatever, right? We wanted to act, but we wanted to act in freedom with decision making, yeah, but in the limits we define, in the boundaries we define. And that's where cryptography and blockchain governance come in. We can set digital boundaries with rules, permissions that will be enforced by private keys, creating these invisible walls, right? These invisible walls that an autonomous system can go beyond. Okay? So obviously, as is in the blockchain, it's encrypted. There's no way the AI can go beyond that. So let's talk about real-world use cases in autonomous contracts. We have a bunch of different use cases. Let's start with insurance. Insurance to me is very interesting. Imagine an insurance company where payouts could be triggered automatically. You know, it will be 100% automatically based on verified weather data, shipping records, or medical reports with no manual claims. So you don't need to call to your insurance to see what were the rules or if the medical test that I did was good or bad. You don't need to call anyone. All the information will be on-chain with an AI oracle that will be taking the decisions, okay? So it will work autonomously. Let's go into energy. In energy, let's go into energy. For example, let's say you have a solar panel in your house. You have your roof full of solar panels, and you create a smart contracts to handle the energy. So the smart contracts will know how much energy your house will need, and the rest of the energy can be saved, and you can resell that energy to your neighborhood, right? To your neighbor, or to your friend, or whoever, right? And that will be 100% automatic and autonomously. In DeFi, we have a lot of use cases. In real estate, very important. This is our space. Imagine an autonomous contract that governs a property. So this autonomous contract will be handling the property. We'll have all the information of the property, everything. Okay. So this contract just not hold tokens, just not hold ownership tokens, but also monitors the asset. It checks if the property taxes were paid. It checks if the rent payments were done. It listens to the price data, and even you can put macroeconomic news, and you can just let your brain fly and put a lot of ideas into this. Okay? So, I want to talk about our protocol. This is a bit more detail. If you are already in blockchain and smart contracts, this will be very interesting for you. So Realty Tokenize is our startup. We are a real-world asset marketplace focused on exotic and emerging real estate markets. So we're not fighting with Propi. We're doing our own work. So I'm going to talk about the Folio chain. The Folio chain is our protocol that we are using in real estate to create autonomous contracts. So what is Folio chain? Folio chain is not a DApp. It's not a marketplace. It's an autonomous coordination layer for real-world assets, okay? It's a protocol that combines compliance, liquidity, and intelligence, okay? Everything in one framework, okay? So we have three components for this protocol. The first component is the ERC 3643. This one will help us in on-chain compliance. In putting it in very simple terms, will be something like the police, right? Will be the police of the chain. I'll be checking that everything is all right, if the laws are going good, if everything is all right. It's checking, it's the police, okay? You cannot pass beyond the ERC 3643 because it's the police, and it's made by worldwide standards, okay? That's very important. The second component of the Folio chain is the ERC 1155. This one we are using it for multidimensional asset structures. Let's put it in simple terms. We are using it for fractionalizing properties. So who here has heard about co-ownership programs? Raise your hand. Have you ever heard about co-ownership programs? Okay, well, that will help us to do co-ownership, but in blockchain, okay? So we call this fractionalizing tokens. And then the third component is the AI Oracle. The AI Oracle is the intelligence compound. And what is doing the AI Oracle is turning context into action. So the AI Oracle is the one that is taking the decisions. In the AI Oracle, we have different AI agents. For example, we have an AI agent inside the AI Oracle that is the AI lawyer assistant. So we'll be handling everything about laws and all this boring stuff that we don't like in real estate, right? It'll be handling. All right, okay? Yeah. And then we have an AI agent for property management. So, for example, the AI Oracle will have an AI that will managing the property. So we have a living asset that will be handling by itself. Okay, so this is what I was stuck in. Let's go to the next one. All right, the next one. Okay, the AI Oracle. So data alone doesn't create autonomy, context does. So each AI Oracle node constantly is ingesting information, unstructured or structured information, whatever information. Like what? Like public property registers, lot sensor data, local tax layers, rental cash flows, and even macroeconomic indicators. But unlikely traditional oracles, it doesn't just transmit data, understand it. It also understand the data and take decision after understanding it. So that's the key difference. A hybrid contract, the one that Chainlink did, those wait for an oracle to say that something happened, right? But an autonomous contract powered by the AI oracle can understand why it happened and then decide what to do next. That's big difference. Basically, it has a brain. It has a brain. Now you have a house that will have a brain. Okay. Um, yeah. Well, encrypted boundaries. So of course, giving the AI deciding power without boundaries is dangerous. That's why our folio chain builds cryptographic guardrails around this autonomy. So every decision pathway is gated by a private key consensus and a multi-signed policy keys. So everything is super secure. Okay. Oh my God, this clicker is driving me crazy. Come on. Okay, the emerging layer. This is the last thing. So the emerging layer is living assets. That's the new concept, living assets. Assets with the brain. So when you put all these together, ERC 3643, 1155, and the AI Oracle, what you get is just not a tokenized property. What you get is a digital tokenized property that is a self-governance digital organism. Basically, it's 100% autonomous. It observes its own states, observes its own compliance, and interacts with investors in real time. So imagine if you're doing if you're having a real estate a program or business, and you can have your property talking to your investors with information that is live. So this is the new emerging layer, living assets. It's beautiful, right? So last thing I want to say is this is how revolutions actually happens, quietly, through systems that just work, through contracts that don't need lawyers, and assets that can move without friction. One day, people won't call it blockchain or DeFi or autonomous contracts. They just call it the things that work, right? And that's the future we're building. That's the future we're building toward, not louder, not faster, yes, smarter, safer, and build on trust. Pura vida, ciao, ciao.
My sorrow into treasure gold.